Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 11 called Sparkle and Shine, designed by Heather Peterson. This block is a little more of a challenge. This is what it looks like in our batiks, and this is what it looks like in our confetti cotton solids. It's a beautiful block. Like always, download the pattern from our Riley Blake Designs website. It has all the piecing instruction and how to assemble this block, but I'm going to take you through it step by step. I've already cut out all my pieces. Let's get started on the assembly. So the first thing it tells you to do in the pattern is grab your C square and your F square, and you're going to mark it corner to corner. I do have a Seam Sew Easy guide, so I'm going to use that on the rest of them, but that is going to be your guide, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side to make 2 half square triangles. Since you've got the same size block and you're going to need to do the same thing on these other half square triangles, I'm going to grab my I, my L, and my O. And corresponding the rest of the C squares. Again, if you've got a right side, do right sides together. I don't really have a right side. So I'm going to take these to the pressing station and just give them a heat adhesive so it's easier to maneuver instead of putting a pin in there. Sometimes I do this instead of pinning. That's helpful for me. Okay. Let's sew down the other side. All right, let's clip our threads in between. And the next thing we are going to do is cut down the middle and make our 2 half square triangles. It's nice to be able to just chain piece a lot of these half square triangles in this pattern. Like I said, it looks daunting, but it's easier than you think to make. Okay, let's take these over to our pressing station. Now our green squares, our green units, I'm going to press to the green side. That'll help you later. And then the blues, I'm going to press to the, let's see, the white side. Now we're going to take these and square up all these half square triangles. We need to square them up to 3 inches. So I'm going to use this Cute Cuts ruler and just line up the center from that corner all along the corners here. And I need 3 inches. So make sure your center seam is lined up. I love the rotating mat to square that up. And grab your dog ear. You're going to do that for all of these half square triangles. Okay, let's clean up my workstation. And the next step we need to do with all these half square triangles is grab our A squares, and the side that has color, well, we are going to need to mark these corner to corner. You're going to put it on your corner right here. Now you can pin this or not. Make sure that lines up really well. And that is going to be your stitch line. So you're going to stitch from here to here. And that's going to make this unit right here. Okay, so we've got this marked line right here, and I am going to sew just a couple threads to the outside of my marked line. So when I flip over, it's giving me a little more room for that to make a square. So do that on all of these little units. Okay, we've got this all chain piece. Let's just clip our threads in between. And now we are going to trim this down to a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this is what it's gonna look like. So it's still gonna look like a square. It's got that white on the inside. Okay, I'm gonna trim all these up, press them, and come back here. So I've pressed all these units and I've paired them with the units that are gonna go together on our quilt block. So see how these two will be paired together, sewn together in the middle. And I've made sure to flip my seams so I could get them to nest when I'm pairing them together. So I've paired those together and those together, and all these are ready to be sewn together at a later time. So I'm going to set those to the side. And the next thing we need to do is make more half square triangles, but these are going to be much smaller. So I need to grab my G, my J, my M, and my P, and I'm going to grab my D squares. And you're going to mark these corner to corner if you don't have a Seam Sew Easy guide, and then you're going to put them right sides together. And just like we did before, this is our guide. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that line to make 2 half square triangles. And then I'm going to just cut down the middle, press them, and then I'm going to meet you back here to assemble this center section of our quilt block. So I'm trimming up my last half square triangle. They measure 1 3/4, so that's really little. And once those are all done, we can assemble our center star. So you can kind of look at the pattern. You're going to take this K, there's 2 left of K, and take the N next to it, the H, this orange piece, I'm going to put that over here, and then this E piece right here, these little squares, and that's going to be the center part. And then we are going to make our star by putting our half square triangles, kind of flank both sides of that square. I'm going to put a white square there. Okay, so that's what our star looks like. Now we're just going to flip over that center section on the outside, and we're going to sew those all together. So you can bring this over to the machine because this works up pretty quickly. Okay, let's bring this over. Open it up, make sure they're going all the right direction. Once you see they're going all the right directions, we're going to take that other piece right there and flip it over to the center piece. And this time I'm going to pin it so it stays in place. All right, let's take it to the machine and sew. If you want to, like, there's a lot of bulk here. If you want to flip over one of those half square triangles, you can. So you can nest your seams. That's perfectly fine to do. All right, let's bring it over here. Add this outside to our inside. Give a pin right there. All right, let's open that up. What we want to see is those just meeting right here in the middle, just like that. You can see it on this other side. We just have 3 more seams. So you can flip, like all these can go this direction. Just kind of nest those seams. Just be consistent, which you can flip them all one way and then flip them the opposite the other way. And I just like to pin those intersections right there. All right, let's take a look. It's looking so good. I'm going to give it a little mist. Open that up. That's a lot of little pieces coming together, but isn't that a cute center to this block? Okay, so this is our center section of our quilt block. I'm going to lay it up here like that. And we have one more set of 4 units to create. So that's what these last squares are all about. So if you look at this right here on the pattern, we're going to sew this to this, that same square, and then we're going to put that bottom piece on it as well. And so you can just take all the, it's the same, even though the orientation is different, you sew it the same. So we're just going to sew all these units together. I'm going to take off those stickers. So I'm going to sew this to this, and then I'm going to bring it back here, and I'm going to sew this B unit on the bottom. And then I'll meet you back here when I've got the long rectangle unit sewn. Okay, I've got these all assembled. Let me just clip my threads in between. I'll give them a good press. Okay, we're ready to start assembling our block. Now, whatever side your green is on, you're going to have these green little square up there, so you can flip that up over there, like that. And now I've bunched these together. So we've got this green. And remember that these units, you're going to start assembling these units first. So take a look at that. Make sure it's all going in the right direction. And the next thing we're going to sew together are these sections. So I'm going to pin it like that. And I'm going to put a pin up top. So remember, I'm going to sew that direction. Oh, I've got that flipped the wrong way. They should meet right there in the middle, just like that. Okay. I'm going to pin it there. Okay, we're going to go sew all these. Okay, let's take it to our pressing station. I'm going to clip my threads over here. We're going to open them up. This is what we want to see, the meeting up top with a 1/4 inch seam allowance down and then meeting in the middle there. I don't know if I need to press them at this point, but I'm going to give them a quick press. I might need to flip them. So you probably don't need to press them. So let's take them over to our block, because depending on which direction those are pressed, we're going to press them the opposite. Okay, there, there, and there. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our rows. And we can start with this row here. Actually, we can do all 3 rows together. Flip that over if we want. Flip it there. Now this is depending on which direction this, and we did press to the right way, we're going to want to nest those seams right there. So that is centered and it should line up. And I could pin that and pin that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to bring my design board over here. Okay, let's open that up. What I like to see is this point right here lining up with that edge right there. And that looks really good. Sometimes that comes together really well, and it is today, so I'm grateful for that. Because sometimes our seams don't always line up. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to pin at the top, but I'm also pinning in the center right here. And since that on the underside is going the other direction, I'm going to finger press this opposite. Okay, we'll flip that over right here. Okay, let's go sew. All right, only 2 more seams. Again, I like seeing this point right there. That looks really good. And we just got to nest the last of our seams. That's flipped that way, so I'm going to finger press that opposite right there. That's falling that direction, so I'm going to flip this opposite there. Let's flip it over here. Let's take a look. All right, let's take it to our pressing station. I'm going to give it a nice mist. Give the back side a press. Right before the final reveal. Oh, it's looking so good. There's a lot to press on this. So we'll just take our time. Because pressing really is the final step that makes a difference in the look of your quilt block and the flatness. Look at our quilt block. It is ready to be squared up. See if we need to trim anything off the sides. Let's take a look. We're going to line up the center line here and here. The last thing we want to do is trim this at all if we've got a 1/4 inch seam allowance. What I see that needs to be trimmed is just a little bit extra on this side. This side, being very mindful of my point right there. I'm going to line it up here, just a little bit extra. There. And just some threads there. And the Sparkle and Shine quilt block is finished. Congratulations if you finished this block. This is more of a challenge. So it is such a beautiful block. We can't wait to see what Heather Peterson does with her own fabric and her quilt block. But join us next time for block number 12. It's called Moab by Amy Smart.